This is Linux in Laws, a podcast on topics around free and open source software, any associated contraband, communism, the revolution in general, and whatever else fancies your tickle. Please note that this and other episodes may contain strong language, offensive humor, and other certainly not politically correct language. You have been warned. Our parents insisted on this disclaimer. Happy, Mum? Thus, the content is not suitable for consumption in the workplace, especially when played back on a speaker in an open plan office or similar environments. Any minors under the age of 35, or any pets, including fluffy little killer bunnies, your trusted guide dog, unless on speed, and cute T-Rexes or other associated dinosaurs. Welcome to Linux in Laws, Season 2, Episode 5. Martin, how are things?
Yes. Interesting as usual, yeah.
Care to explain? Let me guess, the British government has fallen apart once again.
Not yet, but it's close. Yeah. No, I mean, talking about governments, I don't know if you followed the Dutch elections recently.
No, I haven't. Do enlighten me. People, just for the record, we're recording this in, what is it, Martin? September 2027, right?
Okay.
No, joking. No, actually, this is kind of late 23, early 24. So, Martin, what has happened?
Well, they voted in the Dutch Trump, surprisingly enough, which...
There's such a thing? Okay.
Yeah. He's very right-wing. It's for a country like Holland, that's quite surprising, in my opinion, but there we go.
So what's going to happen?
Well, nobody wants to form a government with him. There's probably nothing for the next 2 years.
Which begs the question, why did people vote for him in the first place?
Yeah, good question. I was really surprised by it, but yeah, there we go.
You couldn't rig this?
I wasn't really expecting it, so otherwise I would have.
Here we go.
Well, the Dutch being as they are, being tolerant and all that kind of stuff, you'd think that there'd be. This is an unexpected result, let's put it that way. But yeah, anyway, he hasn't found anybody to make a government with, so who knows?
So the options are: he's not able to form a government, meaning he's on the. There will be new elections. B, he is able to form a government, which again offers more options, like leaving the EU, conquering Germany. Good luck with that, by the way, and maybe leaving things the way they are.
Yeah. With any coalition, there is always things to negotiate and to agree on. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, but from a kind of Eastern perspective, and yes, people in the Netherlands are west of Germany. Indeed, very much so. It has been for quite some time now, I might add.
Yeah.
The Netherlands have always been perceived as quite a liberal country on the forefront of democracy and what have you.
Yep.
So apparently that's going to change?
Well, there is indeed a certain, let's say, public unrest or unease with the way things are. So, which is presumably why they voted him in.
Okay. When was the last proper civil war in the Netherlands? Quite some time ago.
Civil war? Did we even have a civil war? I don't think we had a civil war.
That's actually the question, Martin. I don't think
we fought many other countries, but not ourselves, as far as I remember.
The country's probably small to this, right? I mean, you were looking at 60 million people or something, so it's not a lot.
There was some religious stuff back in many thousands of years ago, but that's about it, as far as I remember.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what, at least a millennium or something, as 1,000 years. After that, so
after that you had Napoleon and some Spanish blokes and
then you had coffee shops, and then things shut down anyway.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, no, there are some issues. Let's put it that way.
But this episode is not, of course, about Dutch elections, but rather about something called the 5 years plan.
Yes.
No, Martin. It's
Year
early 2024.
4.
We have been in existence exactly.
Hmm.
We're just about to enter our 5th year. If
Excellent.
Mars is anything to go by.
So the question was, what was the first 5-year plan?
It's probably too long ago to remember, but we are rapidly achieving the goal of the first 5th-year plan, I suppose.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, world domination is within reach. Floss Weekly has
That's
sailed
very
in terms of has folded.
Yeah, they're falling by the
And they're
wayside.
not
Yeah.
exactly, and there are not that many general Floss podcasts left, apart from vendor-bound ones like all things open at Intel or whatever it's called these days. Links on mail are not in the show notes. So
okay, so therefore, 5-year plan, world domination. What else do we have on there? I think maybe, I don't know. Does the Hacker Public Radio part fit in there or not? I don't think that was part of the 5-year plan, so we can ignore that one. Right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, they gave us a head start.
Yes.
Because without this, we wouldn't have this 1.475 billion 347,425,230 listeners, I think. Give or take a few. If you're listening, people, thank you.
Yeah. So I guess we ought to get a new aim for the next 5 years as well, really, shouldn't we?
Good question, Martin. I mean, world domination is within reach.
Yes, I guess the begs the question: what do you do with world domination?
But
right?
You see, Martin, quite a few people have made the same mistake, assuming that this, because it was just within their reach, it was a done deal. Quite the opposite, actually. Just take a look at Putin, the Ukraine, and some other stuff.
Well, he's not actually got all that far, has he?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So if you class that as being in reach, we're in trouble, aren't we?
I mean, he was under the impression that he could conquer that country within a couple of days, and then it was all over. And now the war, for want of a better expression, is almost going into his 3rd year. It's 3rd year, rather. If I'm completely mistaken.
3, you think? I thought it was more like 2, but yeah, it's certainly been going on for a considerable amount of time.
Well, no, it has been going on for 2 years, no?
And
now it's ending its 3rd.
Right, yeah, okay, fair enough. That is not so good.
No. And you see, Putin was gravely mistaken when he thought he was all over within a couple of days. Quite the opposite, actually. So, that, of course, if communist history, for want of a better expression, is anything to go by, we shouldn't rest on our laurels, but rather say, okay, it's maybe it's within reach, but we haven't gotten there quite yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, yeah, but if it's within reach, it should be achievable in the next 5 years, for sure.
That depends on how on what country we choose to invade.
Okay.
Or maybe no country whatsoever.
It's probably the best option, yeah.
The competition has crumbled. Well, one of the competition anyway.
Yes. So, the question is, will those listeners join us? And, well, they certainly have enough ways to find us, for sure, because we are on many different outlets and scrapers and all these kind of things.
Absolutely, yes. Well, I mean, their format used to be slightly different from ours. I mean, they publish weekly, as in they release weekly, and
they just had interviews, right?
Yeah, and they just had guests, exactly. We don't, not yet, anyway.
I think, given the feedback, the internal ones are appreciated. Certainly for people that need to get sleep, don't they?
I mean, exactly. And second reason for keeping this up, this is where the money comes from, right? Because companies do keep sending us money in terms of what not to cover in these so-called internal episodes. So that's fun.
Companies send us money. Oh, this is a first.
They do, yes.
Must have a word with the non-existing finance department.
I mean, seriously. I mean, if you don't want to have your stuff covered, just send a mail to Sponsor Linux Inlaws.eu. Just name your price, and we won't cover your subject. Simple as that.
And anything come to mind?
For obvious reasons, Martin, I cannot disclose any company names.
That's a shame.
Well, I could. Let me see what checks actually did bounce. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Okay, so Martin, what's next with regards to where we want to take this?
Well, after world domination clearly comes the galaxy, right? So that'll be next. I think we had some alien listeners before on one of the episodes anyway, didn't we?
Very true, yes.
Which one was
so
that?
Vogons, Vulcans, Romulans, if you're listening, pay attention, you heard it here first.
Yes. I'm sure they are. It's clearly the most valuable source of information and entertainment. Yeah.
Yes. I'm just wondering actually if Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever we are, and SoundCloud maybe not, reaches actually out to IP addresses that are not on this planet. I do not know.
Well, do they even have IP addresses beyond the planet, right?
I mean, otherwise they would be able to listen to us, no? Come to think of it.
Oh, I'm sure there is some technology for that.
You mean proper interfacing? Okay, maybe. Yes. I don't know.
Anyway, you've seen the advert, right? With
which one?
The one for there's a UK service called Freeview, and they've made an advert where some aliens are watching all the all the Earth television on their UFO and making fun about it all being free and so on and streaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you see, Martin, two keywords: UK and media. You see? No, and the answer is no. I haven't.
Okay. Well, no. Yes, that's yeah. Very true. Yes, I can send you a link if you want, but you get the idea, I'm sure.
So the idea is basically that aliens watch free TV and then what?
Well, the point is being that they are so much enjoying this television that they are surprised it's free, and therefore spend all their time eating biscuits watching the free TV instead of invading Earth. Yeah.
And so they became extinct. I see.
Yes.
It's called evolution. So aliens, if you're out there, don't fall for this crap. Just keep invading other galaxies.
Yeah.
Don't chill out on the sofa eating biscuits and watching free TV all the time. It doesn't work. I mean, I can't recall Alexander the Great doing the very same thing because he just kept invading countries. There wasn't any TV, never mind free stuff.
Well, that's the problem in those old days, isn't it? It's like they don't have anything better to invade some countries.
And hence the empire.
Maybe
and all the
this
rest
is
of it.
Putin's problem as well. Yeah, he should watch more TV.
Vladimir, if you're listening, watch TV.
Yes.
Instead of invading neighboring countries.
On that subject, are they not joining the EU as well? Or they've been...
Russia?
No,
Martin wasn't joking.
No, the Ukraine have been admitted or are about to or something.
You mean filling the vacant slot that the UK left when they kind of when they left the European Union or whatever?
Yeah.
I think they applied for membership, but if you take a look at Turkey's fate, it takes some time, and I reckon they won't fast track that Ukraine membership, especially if Putin ceases the war anytime soon.
Well, there was this whole business with Hungary, right? With who were blocking aid and stuff like that a few days ago. From the EU.
True, yes, but I mean they have always been difficult, I suppose.
Well, it's probably not so helpful being the country next to Russia. You have to
And
say.
I mean, yeah, and they maintain friendly relationships with Russia. That doesn't, of course, help.
No. So
No.
yeah, didn't the 5-year plan actually originate in Russia?
It did, but that was quite some time ago when Stalin, I think, or Lenin had just taken over. I think it was Stalin, because he invented pretty much the communist regime
Yeah, it was Stalin.
in the olden days. Sorry, that was of course Lenin. Links may or may not in the show notes, people. No, I think Lenin came first and Stalin came later. I think Stalin was kind of 40s, 50s. But Lenin came up with the first couple of great ideas of how to change things, because the emperor, as in the Russian word for it, I think is Tsar, was failing.
Oh, yes.
And the empire, and people got disillusioned, and that was a perfect breeding ground for the revolution between 1918 and 1920 something.
Not just disillusioned, they were also pretty hungry, I believe.
So well, you see, goes hand in hand, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're hungry, you pretty much, I mean, you're on the fast track to become disillusioned, I suppose.
I think, yeah, disillusion is probably an understatement in that case, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so no, Stalin had the first 5-year plan, apparently. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. I thought it was Lenin, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Stalin had it down to perfection, I suppose, because the New World Order was just forming, as in East and Western blocks and all the rest of it, and perhaps the people needed some guidance. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. Well, those had more concrete outcomes in there rather than world domination. It was more about production outputs and stuff like that, and so on, and farming, and if I'm not mistaken history too much, but that's some vague recollection, and that's what was in his 5-year plan. So,
well, I mean, if you're coming out of a very desperate war, as in the Second World War, and prior to that, not too long ago, you had a civil war, as it so happens. That, and with not that much time in between these two with these two challenges, and you have a vast country at your disposal, you want to put some structure on this, and that's exactly what they did. And they used a couple of books, Marx and Engels, are probably, as in The Capital, ranging very, very kind of high on that list, or being high on that list, for want of a better expression. And this is basically how they kind of took a leaf out of that book in terms of how to make sure that this country had a future with regards to people surviving, and that the ideology at the time was at least close to something called socialism in terms of equal distribution of wealth. In theory, I might add.
Yes. Yeah.
Because as we may or may not all know, the reality was quite different to a certain extent. But again, it served as a template or blueprint for quite some other countries adopting the very same stance. Quite a few African republics come to mind. By the way, people, if you're wondering what this is all about, we come to the open source angle in a second. So stay tuned, don't fall asleep yet.
Yeah. Okay. So what is our goal for core output in the next 5 years?
I mean, we covered the we covered the extraterrestrial thing already.
Yes,
so I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe capturing the people who are only interested in open source topics to a lesser extent.
What do you mean?
I mean, we could start. I mean, Martin. Now this is the point in time when your training comes in handy. All these years of doing Amish. Or Amish, sorry, adult entertainment websites. Now is the point in time when you could put these skills to good use. No,
I don't know what do Amish people do.
And they watch porn websites all day long, no?
No. They can't do because they're not allowed technology, are they? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, you see, Martin, this is where the theory ends and practice begins.
I don't know.
Hang on, I thought you
familiar with any Amish people. Yeah.
I thought this is where the money came from. Weren't you kind of reviewing all these websites all years long, no?
Oh, is there money in this? Oh, you should have said earlier.
You tell me, Martin. I've never even discovered an Amish porn site.
Okay. Well, in that case, you'll have to find the links in the show notes.
Send them to me, Martin. Send them to me. No, I mean, jokes aside, maybe we should do with a more adult angle. Maybe not. I mean, it doesn't have to be kind of...
it's not exactly aimed at kids at the moment, is it?
No.
I think the average age of our listeners is probably
55?
No, it's probably not that high. But
I mean, the good news is we are explicit. I mean, the RSS feed says so we must be explicit, so we can talk about whatever we want. Most of the time, and I might add, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we haven't covered the adult entertainment angle to great extent, no?
I see. Open source in the adult entertainment industry. Yeah, okay.
Maybe we should do an episode on this. Martin, you know some porn stars, don't you?
I do.
You don't? I thought you did.
No, I don't. I'm afraid.
Maybe you could reach out to them.
We can always reach out to them. Yeah. Well, I guess these people are paid for a living, aren't they? They probably won't want to come on a podcast for free.
Yeah, but Martin, there's no camera involved, so it's just talking. And as we all know, not only in the porn industry, talk does come cheap. Doesn't it? No, I thought it did. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I guess. Yeah. I mean, we did cover Tor, stuff like that. So,
yeah, but if you look at not porn.
No, but it is obviously a gateway to it to some degree.
Is it?
Well, that's.
If you live in the Vatican, maybe yes.
yes, indeed.
But maybe they don't use Tor anyway because they have a broadband connection to the next peering point where Pornhub is kind of closely positioned to. Because as we all know, the Vatican is the Vatican, so questions asked.
Yeah. Yeah. So, where were we?
Porn.
Well, 5-year plan, really.
True. Yes, and how to get there.
Yes. Well, I don't know. You tell me. How big is this industry? We may be doing the wrong podcast, right?
You mean the floss industry? Oh, it's big. Or you mean porn? Because in that case,
I don't really.
Exactly. I would have to relate that question to you, Martin. Because I don't have a clue about porn. I don't know.
Okay. Curious.
Oh, sorry. Adult entertainment in general. Anyway, I mean, I've only been to Las Vegas with you. Come to think of it,
did you come to the Las Vegas thing?
We both went there, Martin. You remember? We went to that restaurant and we bought clothes. I don't know why, but
we bought what?
We bought clothes as an apparel. You can't remember that?
I've been to Las Vegas, but that wasn't with
Yes. Oh, it was. And we went to that restaurant. I'm positive, Martin. I'm very positive because we spent an extra day there. And we flew there via this dingy thing in London, if you recall correctly.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, I do recall.
We won't mention any details for the protection of the not-so-innocent, but that's beside the point. We are talking early 50s, I think. Maybe not. Maybe it was kind of late teens or something. Before the pandemic hit anyway, before you get wondering.
Or nobody went anywhere anymore. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes. What does Vegas have to do with open source?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, it does, because otherwise, I reckon there won't be a Linux in-laws, I suppose,
Why not?
because
This was after.
we formed the initial friendship there, and that was put to good use when we sat down in this craft beer bar in Prague and came up with this nonsense called Linux in-laws, in terms of, let's do a podcast.
Hmm.
And here we are, almost 5 years later,
Yeah. Excellent.
still going on strong. Floss
Ah,
Weekly
well,
has folded.
Floss
The
Weekly,
Grumpies are no longer, apparently.
The
That's what I
Grumpies
think.
are no longer. Oh dear.
No,
That's a shame.
but the in-laws are still there. That's the point.
What happened to the Grumpies?
Do not know.
Yeah, because we had some Christmas episode before
We
with
did.
them.
Yes. But they haven't published in ages, so I don't know. Maybe they're gone, maybe they're not.
That would be a shame.
Back to the 5-year plan, Martin.
5-year plan. Okay. Yes, 5-year plan.
Talking to Microsoft?
The next 5-year
maybe
plan.
not.
The next 5-year plan?
I mean, monetization, right? We still haven't got the clue, people. So if you have any ideas about monetization, by all means, now's the time.
Yeah, maybe we should. We should definitely maybe raise the profile of our guests now that we are so successful indeed. Yeah.
I mean, we could start with Patreon and stuff, or PayPal, but then...
Actually, we had, what's his name on the Christmas episode, no? He wanted to stay anonymous.
You mean the one that we can't mention? Yes, we did.
Yes.
Or rather, a reenactment of said character.
Oh, was it not him?
No, it wasn't.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
You remember the laws insisted that this was not the original, not meant to be.
Yes, of course. Yes,
Mark. That's precisely the reason why we had to get a beloved voice talent on the show, reenacting the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
As you will recall.
I do.
Excellent.
Yes, anyway, so going back to that, next 5 years. So we've got him already, so what else do we have? There's some other high-profile people we should probably get on the show. Don't you think?
So, people, if you have any ideas, if you are a high-profile person, if you're listening, the email address is feedback@linuxinlaws.eu. Just get in touch. Even if you're not the person that cannot be named for legal reasons.
Indeed. So, yeah. If you would like to volunteer, go ahead.
Yes.
And, even if you are not a let's say immediately involved in open source apart from running a large company around it, then you are still welcome.
Quite a few people have reached out, right? And teaser, they just keep listening. There will be shows coming up with these people within the next year, as in 2024. So we must be doing something there, because otherwise people wouldn't pay attention and wouldn't reach out to us.
Yeah. There's definitely some good listenership feedback, guests. So it's really do we go for? I think this the Floss Weekly point is actually quite relevant, isn't it? Really, because they had some certain formats and they had some interesting guests, but why did they not continue?
If you listen to the episode, and links, of course, will be in the show notes, because it was last Floss Weekly, and there was some talk, for those people who listened to episode 1 of season 2, we actually lamented the demise of something called Floss Weekly. Apparently, Leo Laporte, who has been running Twitch for the last 20 plus years, that is, of course, the official version, ran out of funding for the format. But, and this is very capital B, and this is, of course, also my opinion, the change from Randall Schwartz to Doc Searls didn't do any good. Because you could actually see it or listen to it, or observe it rather, if you listen to the last 5 years, as in after Doc Searles, or was it 4 years? I can't even remember. Anyway, since Doc Searles took over, I wouldn't say that the format was falling apart, but it couldn't be anywhere close to what Rendell did for the format, which is a pretty, what's the one for, sad.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not revealing any secrets here, because as all of the people who have listened to Floss Weekly on a regular basis, like I have been doing for the last 15 years easily, if not longer, because as I said, or as well, as I hinted at in the first episode of season 2, Floss Weekly has been an inspiration for something called Linux In-Laws. Rendell always had a strong repertoire of guests. Doc Searles, not too sure who did the scheduling, but in recent years the format fell apart with regards to guests not showing. Okay, that can happen, as we all know.
Yes.
But then also guests of, I'm tempted to say, not dubious quality, but that didn't really fit into the format. And that's probably the reason why people stopped listening to Floss Weekly to some extent. And Leo, the next time, if you're looking for a monetization strategy, just reach out. We may not have one either, but this club thing clearly didn't hit the point with regards to how to monetize a podcast, because I reckon, yes, you get bonus episodes and all the rest of it, but really, I mean, my guess would be that you're not making more than a couple of bucks from this in any given month, as in people willing to pay $7 for a subscription. Because the content, I suppose, doesn't justify this. But that is, of course, very important. My personal opinion, and hence covered by the First Amendment, if you're talking U.S. legislation now. So, Leo, don't sue me, or us rather. No, jokes aside.
Find a legal team will take care of it.
The thing is, basically, since Doc took over, the format wasn't going, I wouldn't say anywhere, but rather the strong way that it used to be when Rendell was still running the show.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's something to be said about not having any sponsors, right? Any monetization, because you don't have any of these problems in this, do you like?
You're not dependent, exactly. You're not dependent. You are not under the influence of any sponsor. Needless to say, if I reckon a sponsor would come along and say, "No, look, what's the price?" And if this price is anywhere above $20 million, let's talk shop. Because that would allow Martin and myself to retire very comfortably, I suppose.
I thought you retired already. Oh, I missed something.
Even more comfortably.
I see. Okay.
More
double the number of millions.
Exactly, more gadgets, you name it. And Martin,
do any of them work there?
I think the missus, as in your missus, would thank me constantly, because now Martin would have the time to clean the house and all the rest of it, as in doing the chores, because Martin wouldn't have to work anymore. Great news.
Great. That would be great.
Martin doesn't seem to be too thrilled.
Yeah. Well.
So, Mr. Swisher, the email address is, you know it already, don't worry about it, just send me a mail. Martin doesn't have to know about this. No, jokes aside, not having a monetization strategy clearly does have its advantages, because this is your independence. No ads, no money, little drugs, but a lot of entertainment.
Yeah. That's probably a good,
maybe that should be the strategy for the next 5 years. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just
similar to the last 5 years.
I mean, just keep up the fun. That's it.
Agreed.
Listen to people, get people on the show, listen to strange opinions, have beautiful shows. Needless to say, in the interest of justice, we cannot name any particular favorites. Goes without saying, but if you want to be in the show, simply reach out.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like an excellent plan. Yeah. Next 5-year plan. Continue.
Continue with the fun, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Excellent.
with that, people, thanks for listening, and see you on the other side. This is the Linux In-Laws.
You come for the knowledge,
but stay for the madness.
Thank you for listening.
This podcast is licensed under the latest version of the Creative Commons license, type Attribution Share Alike. Credits for the intro music go to Blue Sea Roosters for their song Solid Market, to Twin Flames for their piece called The Flow, used for the segment intros, and finally to Celestial Ground for their song Sweet Justice, used by the Dark Side. You find these and other ditties licensed under CC at Jamendo, a website dedicated to liberate the music industry from choking copyright legislation and other crap concepts.